What did I do? Papa said, a glint of fear. No, it was it was terror. Pure terror in his eyes. Tony Star turned slowly towards him, a cold, calculating look in her eyes as she stared down at the young apprentice. You failed, she whispered coldly. I know I failed my assessment, he said, looking down in shame. No, you didn't. I know I failed my assessment, he said, looking down in shame. No, you didn't just fail your assessment. Tony Star said, her tone growing colder, her voice growing louder. She paused a moment, staring back at him. You failed, Starkland, she hissed. He flinched as the word Starkland struck him. She turned away from him, dipping a paw into the cold, starlit puddle of forget-me-not falling from her tan pelt. Her voice changed, less cold, more soft, disappointed, almost motherly. Her voice changed, less cold, more soft, disappointed, almost motherly. You failed me, she whispered. Her sudden soft tone made his ears flatten against his head. The terror in his blue-green eyes had been replaced by shame and self-loathing. Tony Stark just chuckled. Tony Stark just chuckled as if his shame was funny or joked to her. Her claws popped out with a sharp click. She dragged her claws across the mud, leaving deep marks. I know, and I'm so sorry, he said, lowering his head, partly out of shame, but it was because he couldn't face her, and not with everything he knew. Now, he couldn't face the face of his grandmother. He wouldn't look into the eyes of the murderer of his mother. He couldn't face her, not with everything he knew now. He couldn't face the face of his grandmother. He wouldn't look into the eyes of the murderer of his mother, the murderer of his siblings, and we knew that she had only kept him so it would look like an accident. So the fire didn't look staged, and so she looked like a hero. So she had an heir to the perfect lilac bloodline. He was that heir. So why was he scared? If he was the only heir, it's not like they could, he shuddered, get rid of him. Except he wasn't the only heir. Sure, he was the youngest, but they hadn't hesitated with Ivory Paw, and they still had Ivory Paw's mother. And they still had Ivory Paw's mother, Acorn Blossom. And he knew this was his third strike. His first one had been when he was caught hugging a Minnepaw, a she-cat from Ember Clan. His second was when he failed. His second was when he failed that hunt that led to Icicle Step's death, and the third was yesterday, failing his assessment at Starkland. He didn't know how he'd failed at Starkland, he just knew he did. He sighed, looking down at the shiny silver starlit lake in the near distance, the Moon Lake, Perfect Clan's very connection to Starkland, the thing they bragged about at every gathering, the thing, other than the Perfect Clan's bloodline, that made Perfect Clan special. Tony Star turned to face him, her grandson, her disappointment. The thought was sharp in her mind, but it wasn't wrong to her. It never would be, because that's what he was. A remnant, a product of Viper Whisper, and that rogue product, no mistake, from her daughter. He finally had made his third strike. Finally. She had been waiting for this moment since Little Rat was born. She chuckled. The sound was like a gunshot in the almost silent forest. You're a disappointment, she hissed, her fangs glinting in the moonlight. I know, he stuttered. His ears were so flat they were practically part of his head.